François-Marie Arouet, later known as Voltaire, was born in Paris in 1694. He received a classical education at the Jesuit college Louis-le-Grand. Even at a young age, Voltaire demonstrated his sharp intellect and talent for writing. He quickly became one of the leading figures of Parisian society. However, his early satirical writings would get him into trouble with the authorities. Voltaire's early plays and poems often mocked the powerful and privileged. These satires did not go unnoticed. He was imprisoned in the Bastille twice because of his writings. These experiences solidified his opposition to censorship and his commitment to freedom of expression. Voltaire believed in the power of reason and used his pen to question the status quo. His early experiences shaped his worldview and fueled his passion for social justice. Voltaire's sharp intellect and relentless pursuit of truth would make him one of the leading figures of the Enlightenment. He would continue to defend reason, tolerance, and individual freedom. His writings would inspire future generations. In 1726, after a particularly harsh attack on a nobleman, Voltaire was forced into exile in England. This period of exile proved to be a turning point in his life and intellectual development. In England, Voltaire encountered a society that was relatively more open and tolerant than that of France. He was greatly influenced by the British constitutional monarchy system. He admired the works of John Locke and Isaac Newton, who deeply influenced his thinking. Voltaire's time in England gave him new ideas about government, religion, and science. He adopted the principles of empiricism and rationalism. He was a staunch defender of separation of powers and freedom of expression. This period of intellectual momentum had a profound impact on his writings. He began to incorporate these ideas into his work, advocating reason, tolerance, and individual freedom. His experiences in England transformed him into a true advocate of the Enlightenment. Fransa'ya yenilenmiş bir amaç duygusu ve yerleşik düzeni sorgulama kararlılığıyla döndü. Voltaire was a fierce critic of organized religion, especially the Catholic Church. He believed that the Church stifled intellectual freedom and perpetuated superstition and intolerance. His most famous work, Candide, is a satirical masterpiece. Criticizes church dogma. Voltaire's attacks on the church are not limited to Candide. He wrote numerous pamphlets and articles condemning religious fanaticism. He saw this as a major obstacle to progress and enlightenment. He argued for a secular society in which reason and evidence, not religious dogma, guide thought and action. His criticism of the Church, though often controversial, was motivated by his deep commitment to individual liberty and freedom of thought. He believed that every individual had the right to question and seek the truth without fear of persecution. Voltaire's courage to challenge the authority of the Church helped pave the way for a more secular and tolerant society. Voltaire's religious views were complex and often misunderstood. While he was critical of religious institutions, he was not an atheist. Instead, he adopted the concept of deism. Deism posits a creator God who sets the universe in motion but does not interfere with human affairs. Voltaire believed in a rational God whose existence could be understood through observation of the natural world. This belief in a watchmaker God allowed him to reconcile his faith with his understanding of science and reason. He viewed the universe as a grand mechanism governed by natural laws. Voltaire's deism provided him with a moral framework based on reason and compassion. İnsanların birbirlerine karşı ahlaki bir görevi olduğunu ve adil ve eşitlikçi bir toplum yaratmak için çabalamaları gerektiğini savundu. His emphasis on reason and tolerance continues to resonate with those seeking a balance between faith and reason in the modern world. Voltaire was a passionate advocate for social justice and political reform. He believed in the importance of individual freedom, freedom of expression, and freedom of religion. He opposed slavery, torture, and other forms of oppression. Voltaire's writings advocated for the rights of the marginalized and oppressed. He used his platform to condemn injustice and call for greater tolerance. His ideas about religious tolerance, freedom of expression, and separation of state from church were radical for his time. Even today, they continue to inspire movements for social change. Although he lived during a time of absolute monarchy, Voltaire's ideas helped plant the seeds of democratic ideals. He believed in the power of education and reason to create a more just and equitable world. His legacy as a human rights advocate continues to inspire people around the world to fight for a better future.